right, Drake Riggs here for my MMA News with Lisa Spangler Verzosa, the Battle Angel here at the base in Vancouver. Lisa, used to be the Strangler, one of my favorite nicknames, really. Now you're Battle Angel. What's the origin of this nickname? I gotta know the story.
Well, I mean, I knew my name was changing because I got married, so Strangler didn't really fit anymore. And I never really, strangled anyone in a fight, so
it sounds good though.
It didn't really fit.
Yeah.
Battle Angel is from Alita. I don't know if you've seen it, but I don't know. The first time I saw it, I just really connected with the character in a lot of ways. I don't know, and I feel like I kind of have the same spirit for fighting as she does.
Yeah,
because I usually, bleed a lot in my fights.
It is what it is. It's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're here at the base. Your gym, obviously. You've done some training at ATT Portland too, right? I mean, formerly Gracie Baja, right? So do you still go there? Was that a gym you went to before? I'm a little confused about that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really feel at home there anymore. I just needed a change, so I just moved on.
Of course. And you did some training in Thailand for this camp, right?
Yeah.
Is that something new, or have you been going to do this?
I went there 5 years ago to do the same thing.
Okay.
So it was the second time we trained in Thailand.
Nice, nice. And I mean, do you enjoy going over there? Obviously Thailand's a nice place, right? But the training, you can't beat it, right? Going for Muay Thai and all that. So.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It's nice to kind of get away from the normal everyday of your life.
Yeah.
It's just a different intensity there, I guess. Just a different mentality altogether.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, you're still very young. I think we're the same age, right? 24, right?
Yeah.
So very young, crazy. I'm always like, when I meet people the same age as me, I'm like, wow, it's just funny who are fighters. So, you've been competing since 18, right? So long time for, how young you are and still coming up and all that. So how did you really get into MMA? Did you like fighting growing up? Were you athletic doing other sports? Tell me the story how you got into it.
I actually played football growing up. And I started in high school as a middle linebacker. So I played football for about 10 years. And then I did wrestling after that in high school. So it's just kind of a natural progression.
Was there anybody that, did you meet anybody that was a fighter or knew about it? Did you watch The Ultimate Fighter? I know a lot of people are like, oh, The Ultimate Fighter was so cool and got him into it. Anything like that for you?
Well, before he was my husband, Mark, he was my strength and conditioning coach, and he kind of told me about it, kind of got me into it.
Nice.
I didn't really think it was a viable career till halfway through my senior year, but they've been kind of picking at me for a while.
I gotta try this. And when it comes to making your professional debut, you did that mid-2018. It's been a really fast progression for you, but you had a very long, amateur career. Was that a part of the plan to get up as much experience as you could as an amateur before going pro?
Yeah, actually, our plan was to do 10 amateur fights and go pro. So it's all part of the plan.
Yeah, nice, very nice. And do you feel like it's been fast? You're fighting for the title next week in Invicta. Big deal. Invicta's a great promotion. The worldwide leader when it comes to women in MMA. So does this feel like it's happening really fast for you, or is it about as you expected?
I'd say a little bit of both. I mean, because in the grand scheme of things, I have had 15 fights now, but as far as my pro career goes, it's still a little early, but I still feel like, I don't know, I'm ready for it.
And I mean, all the experience you have in, the Pacific Northwest scene, which is really, underrated, I still think, because there's so many talented people out here and competing in this area. It's kind of a little boost. I feel Chris Sunshine Lencioni, he always likes to brag, they're like pro fights on the amateur here. So, I mean, it's you got that much experience. And do you think it's been more beneficial too? You've competed, every single fight except for one in Invicta? So, I mean, that's great experience too on top of, what you already have. So you think it's been extra beneficial having fought for Invicta as much as you have already?
I'd think so, especially since they have all of the media day and all of that. It's kind of more experience for that aspect of it. Like, I'm not really the best at interviews, but I feel like every time I do it, I get a little bit better.
Of course, yeah.
Like,
right.
I've never enjoyed public speaking at all, but
yeah.
it's starting to get better.
It just comes with, repetition. And, like I said, fighting for the title. I mean, what was your reaction when they offered you that fight? Big fight, vacant title fight here coming up. Did you get like a little nervous? Were you like, oh yes, finally, I've been waiting for this? Just like, what was the initial feeling when you got that call?
I'd say I was pretty excited. I don't know, maybe a little bit nervous, but that's pretty much every fight. You just get like a little bit of that, but I think it keeps you training harder.
Yeah, of course. And, do you feel, a little bit of pressure coming into it? Because I don't know if, I think people kind of favor you at this point, like, okay, we know she's a legit prospect and all that. So do you feel, I don't know, just feel any pressure being in such a bigger fight, 5 rounds, just the added elements that come with, a title fight?
I mean, a little bit, but I try to just ignore it because it doesn't really matter for the fight.
Yeah.
I just try to focus on that part of it.
Of course. And, taking on Julija Stoliarenko, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't remember where she's from, but, over in Europe. Anyway.
Lithuania.
Yes, I think she is the only Lithuanian. That was a thing about her. But anyway, she's on a roll now, was on tough the last season at featherweight. How much do you know about her? Have you been doing much studying? Are you even a fighter who, studies your opponents much? Because I know some people like to focus on themselves, let the coaches do it more. Where do you fall on that part?
I feel like in the past, I just let my coaches do it most of the time. But, I don't know, for the past couple of fights, I've actually watched it alongside them. But at the same time, you can't focus too much on what they're going to do because sometimes I've done that in the past. I think a few fights ago, I thought the person was going to grapple, and then they just didn't. So you just have to adapt in the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
So it's try to balance, but it's nice to be aware of what they're capable of, I guess. But, yeah.
It's just a matter of, not overthinking, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's always the topic of, mental versus physical. It seems like a lot of people nowadays are saying, yeah, it's way more of a mental sport. And, I mean, would you agree with that? How much would you weigh the balance between physical and mental?
I don't know. It's probably about 50-50, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I try not to think too much in my fights. Just try to listen to my coaches and be present at the time. But yeah, I don't know.
Of course, fair enough. And for this event coming up here, Invicta Phoenix Rising, it's 4, I believe. They're doing something new, the open scoring in MMA. I'm sure you're aware of that. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like it? Is it no big deal to you? I mean, just what do you think about that whole thing?
I think it's pretty cool because, you actually know and the audience knows who wins each round, so no one can really complain at the end of it. And if, I'm winning this round, I need to be aware that they might come after me, stuff like that. It just adds another aspect to it.
Yeah. And then, if you're losing, and then you're like, oh, wow, I really need to go for it, right? So
there's
that, which I think that's kind of the biggest thing about it, because the argument seems to be, oh, well, judging has been so bad and everything, because it was after UFC 247. I don't know if you watched that, but
I did. Well, we were in Thailand.
Oh, right, nice. So, I mean, it's like, it doesn't mean the judges will get better necessarily, but at least the fighters are aware, because like Max Holloway, his example is, that he didn't know he was down in his last fight where he lost, but if he knew, he would have gone for it in the 5th round. So, yeah, I think it's exciting, so we'll see, right? And I mean, you're one of the few fights that it will really matter for, because, the 1-round ones won't, so you're trend-setting here. But to shift topics a little bit, I saw on your Twitter, which I don't think you're very active on Twitter, it seems like, which is fine, but your background picture was the Pokemon games. So I want to know, how much are you into video games? Is there something you're playing right now? What's your favorite game? All that stuff.
Jeez,
Too many to pick.
I grew up in a family of nerds. We had a console of some kind in every room. My favorite was Assassin's Creed and Fable. But recently, I've gotten into Pokemon because growing up I didn't really play it. But people always told me I should.
That's our generation.
But I don't know, I'm pretty casual for Pokemon because I know there's people who like, I don't know, do the whole competitions and stuff and like
crazy.
know everything about, you know, this stat.
It's really math oriented.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I'm like,
it's kind of insane.
You want me to do math? I just want
I'm trying to
play the game. Yeah.
I gotta catch them all. Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
There's so many.
Right.
The ones that look like mushrooms.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names right now, but
Shirotic, is that what it's called?
Yes, yeah, that's one of them. That's great. All right, Lisa, I'll leave you with one last thing here. Thank you so much for the time again. 2020 goals. What do you want to have accomplished by the time we hit 2021 next year?
Well, I'd like to have a belt.
Of course, yeah, that's next in line.
I don't know. I'm hoping the UFC calls, but I like to focus on whatever fight is happening at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't try to think too much ahead because some people will, think about where they want to be in a year or two, a few months from now, and forget about what's happening now. So, I don't know. Right now, I'm just focusing on this fight.
Yeah, it's a big one. So, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for letting me in here to the gym and taking the time to chat before the big fight. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
you.
Yeah.